Hello, everyone here on YouTube. So I don't really post a whole lot here because I'm just not, you know, a YouTuber, I guess you could say. But I did decide to just create a little small video just to kind of just keep myself somewhat relevant on here. So basically, this is just a video about my enjoyment of art, and what got me all into it and stuff like that. So I don't know, I guess is the best that I could explain it. So yeah, a lot of you or whoever's watching may know that I'm a Bob Ross type artist, but really, that's not how it all started beforehand. I've always been a fan of like comic book art and stuff like that, so I always kind of just grew up, like watching the cartoons and such. But I think what really pushed me to start doing it myself. I mean, obviously, when I was younger, I did little doodles and little sketches and stuff, but my big kind of intro into the whole thing with art was an artist, Boris Vallejo, which, I mean, if anybody's in the art community, they'll know who he is, and Julie Bell, his wife. So basically, when I was small, I was in Puerto Rico, and I was like a big collector of like comic cards and comic books and such when I was young. So I remember being in Puerto Rico, staying at my grandmother's, and my uncle, he took me to a local comic book shop down the street. And so I was, just kind of like going in there, like, oh, cool, get more comic cards, yada, yada, yada. So as we were walking back to my grandmother's house, my uncle was like, that's cool and all, but that's like kid stuff. So he was like, I got some cool comic cards too, but just don't show, don't tell your mom. So we went up to the room and he showed me he pulled out a folder and he had his little card. And right there and then I was like, what is this? Like when he showed it to me. And it was Boris's art. And if any of you aren't familiar with Boris, this is one of his books, him and Julie's, their fantasy workshop. And well, his stuff was, to me at that time, I didn't even know what they, like, I thought it were pictures. I was like, wow, that's insane. Look at those little pictures and stuff. And, not me understanding or knowing that they were actually paintings. So that was my first introduction to Boris, and that right there kind of, boom, piqued my interest in that style. Um, After that, I mean, it was kind of just blah blah blah. I started, doing more drawings and such as I was growing up, but it was later on in, like, I want to say it was, man, what was that, like somewhere in my 30s, where all of a sudden I decided to go back to reading fantasy like literature, like Lord of the Rings and all the Dungeons and Dragons and such stuff like that. And then I started, going out and buying like art frames and canvases and such. And that's kind of like where that went. I bought that book and another one of his that kind of described everything in detail, how they prepared boards and how they prepared everything. So yeah. And while that was going on, that's when I was like, oh, let me just get some, see if like there's any art schools or anything like that. So that's when, boom, the Bob Ross workshop popped up, and I was looking at that, and I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. So I got the info, went up to New Smyrna Beach, got myself my certification, and out of nowhere, doing paintings like Bob Ross, that popped up. And I didn't even think that I was going to be. I did little practices watching his videos, but um, they were nothing to the level of what I'm doing now. Like, even this one right here was blah, like nothing. I've done way better and I've gotten better. So yeah, that's kind of just a small little tale of my, fantasy genre art stuff that I'm a fan of. I'm also a big fan of Frank Frazetta's. I've been looking more and more at his stuff. All the stuff that he's painted over the years and his drawings. That's really amazing stuff. I do plan on going to the museum here in the west coast of Florida. Yeah, I do plan on checking that out. Um, And yeah, and I'm also more and more reading more of the fantasy genre stuff to get myself into more ideas. And I am trying to get back more into the painting, but life is life, so things get in the way. So yeah, this is just again just a video of my likes about fantasy art and a little detail of how I got myself in it and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, what else can I say? Excuse the dogs. Um, yeah, well, goodbye.